Hello and welcome to the latest in Do More with Less Real Stories. We twin our monthly Do More with Less interviews with marketing leaders with shorter, punchier sessions that highlight the on-the-ground real stories of individuals fighting to work out how to do more with less. Now, today I'm talking to one of the UK's top marketers. This is Leanne Chescoe, who has been with Demand Base for nearly 10 years. Leanne, lovely to have you on the pod. How are you? So Leanne and I have known each other for a little while now because our paths have crossed many times over the last sort of 10 years. But we actually met earlier in the start of the year, around February, we think, from memory for dinner. And having caught up just before we started recording, Leanne, you've had a great year at Demand Base.
We have, yeah, had a really fantastic year.
What was the big challenge coming into the year? Because I know that like everybody across the industry, the strong likelihood will be that your targets were upped and increased, but your budget stayed level, and that's always a challenge. What was your personal need to have a successful year?
So one of the core things for us this year was the resurgence of our user conference. So we have been running these kind of smaller regional events in the UK and London for the past 2 years, and really proving out the model of the need to bring back a user conference. So it's something that we had run in San Francisco. That's where Demand Base is headquartered for a number of years pre-COVID. And then after that, obviously, the whole kind of event landscape changed for a few years. But there was that real need just to bring people together and have that human connection and the appetite to be back in person again. So we did it on a smaller scale in 2023 and 2024 in London, and really proved out like they were successful, like sold out events, closed registration like a month out. And that really helped kind of prove the needs to bring back a user conference in a bigger way. So we went kind of all in terms of investment from a marketing standpoint, had the backing of our CMO, and worked with a great agency to build out, a brand for this event, and put on the first user conference. So we've brought them back globally. We did the first one in London in April, then we've done one in New York in October, and we're bringing them back again next year. So they're what we call our Go Summits. So that was a huge focus for us this year, was really building out the blueprint for what that Go Summit looked like. So London was our first one as well. So that was a huge kind of goal for me this year, to make that really successful. Obviously, drive pipeline from it being kind of first and foremost, and cementing our kind of thought leadership in the go-to-market and account-based space. So yeah, that was like the first goal, and start of the year kind of hit the ground running because that was end of April.
What did small look like when you were sort of piloting and trialing and proving the case? Like in 23 and 24, what are we talking about with small in terms of numbers? And how does it
Yes.
compare to the big success of London?
Yeah, so smaller in terms of just the venues and the audience size, and it being half day events as well. So we actually did our first one at London Zoo, which is pretty cool. And then we had this whole the kind of brand around it was tied into like themes around animals. So there was this whole kind of comparison around how Demand Base was like similar to an elephant in terms of the memory that it has on all of your accounts. And we had like a real kind of fun time, like branding all of that. It was really cool. And then we had this whole experience
And
element
how
to
many
it. Yeah.
and how many people came to London Zoo for that event?
Well, the London Zoo one would have been probably just over like 120, I think. And then
Sorry, 100, 120.
120, yeah, yeah,
That was a small one.
for a small one,
So
yeah.
what was the big one this year?
The big
What
one
what was
this
the big what
year,
when you brought back Go in a big way?
it was 350 this year.
Wow, amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. Do you know what I really love? I mean, that doesn't sound necessarily like it would, like the on first hearing that doesn't sound like a do more with less thing. But what I absolutely adore there is the the effort and time, planning, care, and sensitivity you all adopted to prove the case over 2 years with kind
Mhm.
of micro events, as you call them, because I'd love 120 at our next event. But you know, that's a really really smart marketing move. Was that something that you guys planned as a global team?
The Go event was, yeah. So we had, input something of that lift. It takes a village, right? And so you need input
Yeah.
from, we've got this whole host of, marketing experts. And so we need to, and our, executive teams and our product teams, we wanted to bring this back in a big way. It was a big, investment for us as a company this year. And so that, took that huge cross team collaboration from products through to like what are we announcing and releasing as a business, and what new products can we kind of talk about, and are going to be releasing around that time. New research. So we partnered with some of our partner community and external kind of research experts to do that, and then within just the marketing kind of experts within demand base to bring the brand and content, messaging, design, creative, promotion of all of these events. So yeah, it took like a whole team effort to bring it together.
And was there a big message or insight that came out of that conference that you were able to then take to market for the rest of the year to make it
Yeah.
sort of ROI? Yeah,
So naturally, it had a big theme around AI, right? So I think that's just a big thing that we're seeing this, across the board in so many different industries. But for us, it was really looking at, and this is one of the brand new pieces of research that we did, was how are AI and ABM working together. So we had a brand new research report around that with one of our partners. And that was really kind of looking at and understanding how are organizations using that today. So it was really looking at the maturity levels of companies that are using AI within their go-to-market strategy. Probably unsurprisingly, so this was released back in April. This research would have been done at the start of this year. That maturity level was still quite low. It'd be kind of interesting to do that comparison and
yeah.
kind of see where companies are a year on, just to see kind of where that's changed. Because I feel just from conversations, we sponsor and attend a lot of events, and just those conversations that I'm having with marketing leaders in the field, like that maturity is increasing just by where they're using AI themselves, from either in kind of in-house built solutions through to AI native platforms that they're investing in, how they're thinking about that in it within a team, what that looks like within their organization. There's some teams that have a whole kind of almost like a steering committee to be like, this is how we're using it within our organization, and capturing the insights, efficiencies, things that they've learned, what they've worked well. So yeah, I'm definitely just seeing that adoption increase, definitely.
And from a marketer's point of view,
Mhm.
what's your what I'm hearing is a quite in an era where we are all being pressed for metrics and performance based, numbers and proof. You've spent a good deal of your budget. I imagine. I don't know what your budget is, but you seem to have spent well on and quite bravely on a big event series, a return of a big event series, and then you said sponsorships as well. So have you been able to? Is this a cultural thing within the organisation, or did it take an element of the marketing team needing to persuade the finance team that there was use in and value in spending on big set pieces that was sort of more brand awareness and not necessarily instantly measurable? That sounds like
Yeah.
a massive kind of endorsement of top of funnel marketing to me.
Hugely it was, yeah. And so there was definitely, we have a pipeline goal associated with that investment. So it's like we want to generate X amount, and we had a goal split between our new business and customer expansion as well, so that we have to deliver on that, which we did for that event to the business. So that would always be the goal that one of the goals that we were kind of communicating is that top line goal is pipeline generation, but the brand awareness piece is huge as well. And I think there's so much of this, I'm hearing so much of this, that importance of trust being spoken about really, really frequently. And I think that is just because there's so much noise out there in the market as well. So being able to kind of position yourselves as like, we are thought leaders in this space. And I think that the brand piece is, can be harder to measure. And so we have some kind of metrics around how do we measure that from different ways from just how many more folks are visiting our website, how many more social followers do we have across our like social platforms, how many people are engaging with this particular event that we can kind of measure, and what's our share of voice. That we were looking at it from that perspective to measure success from a brand perspective as well. But I think it also is great for things like within the analyst community and hosting these events that they vendor perspective, that's one of the things that they like to see, and that impacts things like Magic Quadrants and Forrester Waves of those the types of analysts that you're looking at. These types of events kind of span so much more just outside of that pipeline generation. It's and even product adoption was another thing we looked at, because we had a whole huge amount of our customers that attended, and so we were also looking at, does this impact product adoption? We had a whole customer breakout session on site with our expert team going through, these are the ways that you can use our product throughout your sales process, like pre and kind of post sale. And so we were looking at 2-3 months out after this event, are more of those customers that attended the event using our product? Do we see a positive impact? Which we did as well. So it just spanned so much more. Our CMO was really helping us convey those metrics, to the business to get that sign off, to reinvest in these bigger user groups as well, because it is a big investment.
I think it feels like Demandbase is a very, very brave marketing organization. Is that something that you sort of sense and feel as you go into work every day? Do you feel like you are holding up the kind of the marketing end of an organization that genuinely believes in investing that money?
Yeah, and I think there's definitely I would say our budgets they're still pretty conservative, I would say, and I think we're just we're still very careful about where we spend our money as well, and where the things that we spend it on. So there were certainly cuts this year on things that we wanted to do and couldn't do. But I think in terms of the marketing team, ultimately our platform is selling to marketers are a huge amount of our end users, as our sales teams as well, but predominantly the budget sits within that marketing function. A lot of our users are marketing, and so we want to be doing good marketing, putting on these great events, building this great brand, practicing what we preach around having this whole like account-based approach to our marketing strategy as well. We want to really set that do good marketing is probably a better word I can say, but we definitely pride ourselves on that as well. We want to set the standard to be like, I love the things that the demand-based marketing team are doing. It's really cool in terms of the events that you guys put on, and we've had such great feedback from that, be it a small 15 in-person dinner to these bigger events as well. We do tend to think about the experience and making sure that the content is great and relevant for people as well. So we definitely pride ourselves on setting the bar for what good marketing looks like, because we're marketing to marketers, and they can be they know all the tricks and everything. So we have to get them engaged and give them some good content and events and experiences.
And how do you stay so close to the sales team? Because I know that from our previous conversations, you've always got a really good handle on where the pain points are for your SDRs and for your sales execs, depending on time of year, a sort of proximity to end of quarter, but also target. What are the what are the tactics that you have relied upon and followed to stay so close to the sales experience on any given day?
So I'm in there for our new business teams. I'm invited to their weekly sales meetings, so every Monday. And so they're able to give an update on any kind of marketing related programs, things that are coming, things that might need to be followed up on. Ultimately, these are programs that we're building to support pipelines. So having that weekly kind of cadence with that team. And then separately outside of that, I work really closely with our SDR leader. We have a bi-weekly sync, and then I meet monthly with her SDR team as well. But I mean, we're talking like all the time. We're on Slack together. Kind of going back and forth for things. And so we work really, really closely together, have really great alignment. And then with the sales teams, because we run these ABM programs for them, we have what we call ABM stand-ups. So the frequency of them we change. It was monthly, they're now 6 weekly, or every 6 weeks might be a better way of saying that. And they are really the opportunity to work in with those individual reps and their SDRs to say, okay, let's have a look at your territory. Where are you, where do you need that support? Is it you need more pipeline? Is it deals that are getting stuck and it's a deal acceleration play that we can help with? Is it a customer expansion motion? And so it's really giving them that opportunity to say, like, we have these, you have our time and resources, we have dedicated budget for these one-to-one programs with each of those sales teams, and it's customized for each sales rep based on what that need is as well. So having that regular cadence of like overall what's happening from a territory perspective, to the ABM stand-ups, to those other meetings with the SDR teams. And then in person, you know, we're fortunate in that we have a big team based in the UK, and we get together really frequently. We were lucky to have a Christmas party. We got together last night, so that was great to see the team. But we do have a monthly cadence of getting the team together. We just hire a meeting space. We actually are all remote. We don't have a dedicated office space, which works for the team that we have. But we get together once a month in person, and we work together. We just hire like a big kind of boardroom space, and we need bigger spaces because we're expanding our team. So we're always kind of outgrowing the spaces that we're hiring. But that is a really good opportunity for each functional area of the business to just give an update on, this is my world. So our leader here does a great job in really helping putting these monthly cadences together, but really giving everybody the opportunity to say, this is what my role is like, these are my challenges, this is what's working for us, and this is what I'm focusing on next quarter. So we have that regular cadence, and I think that's really helped to understand, like, where everyone's challenges are and a little bit more about their role. And I think it gives you more appreciation and respect for your colleagues when you learn that information, but B, also just an understanding of how we're doing as a business, what the performance looks like from a sales and revenue standpoint. That's been super helpful. And we're out in the field a lot. We run a lot of events, these, you know, bigger trade shows to smaller like field events. So we're together as a team quite frequently with the sales teams. And then, as I mentioned, we also, you know, we are selling and marketing our platform to marketers and sellers. We use our own technology. That's a huge amount of our of what we do, and going back to this point of like trying to be the best in terms of on the marketing side, doing good marketing, but practicing what we preach. And so we are kind of an additional resource to our sales teams because we really understand our buyers. We are in there doing the same roles as some of them. We understand what they're measured on, pain points, because we have a lot of those same challenges. So we're brought in as that non-sales voice to just to help them operationalize, okay, if I'm making an investment in a technology like demand base, how do I use it as a marketer? Just help me operationalize this like day to day. It's those types of conversations. And so that helps us understand our buyers more and brings us into those deals as well. So I think a combination of all of those things has really helped with that alignment piece.
And what would you say about ABM, because I think I've been in 3, 4 organizations where we've practiced ABM as part of our strategy, and each take on that strategy has been significantly different in understanding ABM. Like, as in, it's the same with you and I were talking before we started recording about the confusion used sort of being generated around claims of AI. But in ABM, do you feel that as we head into 2026, ABM is starting to formulate as a single, as a singly understood, universally understood strategy now, or is it still very difficult to get inside an organisation and understand what it is they mean by ABM?
It is, yeah. And I think a lot of organizations are at a point where they have done ABM in some form, right? And what that looks like at each organization can vary differently. And so some of them have not had great experiences. So actually, when I've spoken to some other marketers that want to kind of test ABM in their new organization, they're like, we don't use the terminology account-based marketing because they've either had a bad experience of it in the past, so we call it something completely different, and it can create this challenge of the sales perception of, well, it's a marketing owned initiative, therefore I don't need to pay attention to this because it's got, marketing in the name. And so a lot of companies kind of just change the nomenclature that they use around that. And so that has been kind of one thing, and I do feel like it's different for each organization. But ultimately, I think it's really about how it can be used in so many different use cases to solve so many different challenges, but they just don't call it ABM. But it could be something like,
right, okay,
we have a pipeline issue and our pipeline quality isn't great. We have issues with our sales cycles. Well, actually, if you're focusing on and getting insight into the accounts that are showing those relevant buying signals, and you're able to see the engagement of that buying group, that can actually help solve a lot of these challenges. So I think it's reframing actually the conversation, moving away from an ABM focused conversation to like a business focused business challenges conversation. But well, actually having an account based go to market focus and strategy can help solve that issue.
And Leanne, finally, what would be your parting advice to all marketers in B2B going into 2026 from a do more with less point of view? What's the number 1 or 2 tips that you could give them from your experience, having been sort of top marketer at Demandbase?
I love that title. I don't know if I've been officially, you've given me that. That's really nice.
Just take it.
I'll take that. I actually have an award in the background. You can't really see it there, but I did get a Marketing Wow Award at RK at the start of this year, so that's always there in the background. I think it's really about really understanding what a good customer looks like for you. So doing that due diligence and making sure that you're really intentional about who you go after, and putting yourself in the shoes of your customer and really thinking about the voice of the customer and the challenges as it relates to your messaging. I think those are key things. And the third one is kind of related to that, would be thinking about this whole kind of buying group, right? So I think we're seeing this in our own sales cycles, and I'm hearing it from so many marketers, the number of people that are involved in those purchase decisions has increased, right? So you're dealing with a much bigger buying group, and really thinking about who are those buying groups, defining each of those roles, making sure that, like, do we know who those people are? Do they exist in our database? Making sure that you can actually market to them. And then thinking about where they come into the sales process in that sales funnel, and making sure that you have messaging that's relevant to them. All this stuff sounds like really basic kind of 101, but I think getting those fundamentals right will be really helpful.
Leanne, thank you so much for the time you've given us. Have a wonderful holidays, and best of luck for 2026.
Thanks, Mark. Had a great conversation.